and welcome to Almost 30.
Hello, everybody. It's Lindsay and Krista. Welcome to the show. Shall we take a deep breath?
Yes. I get nervous because we had a few episodes with 6 years in, you guys. One of the biggest in the biz. We had freaking audio issues on two episodes and you could hear us breathing.
Hey, I need to encourage people to breathe
It's
regardless.
true. That's true. So let's do it. 1, 2,
Deep
3.
breath. Yeah.
Welcome in to Almost 30. You don't need to be 30 or anywhere near it. It's not about your age. We started this when we were transitioning from our 20s to our 30s, and we really wanted it to be a space of inquiry, of curiosity, of fun, of laughter, of depth, and openness. And we wanted to provide a space where we can learn, where we could be ourselves. And it has turned into a community all over the world that supports people in their evolution.
Yeah. And it's interesting to think of those early conversations. And we kind of told Katie this when we started the interview, that we started thinking about like health and wellness and like just kind of the most aesthetic and kind of surface conversations when we were starting this podcast around transitioning from your 20s to your 30s. But it has just become such a deep, ever unfolding process and experience. And now we find ourselves kind of in this realm of kind of the unseen and more in the spirituality lane. And so talking to someone like Byron Katie is just kind of one of those moments where we're like, oh, didn't know we would be talking to Byron Katie when we started this.
She's like a true, like when I think about spiritual gangster, like not the brand, I think of her. Like a true spiritual gangster where you're like, you're on some other shit.
Yes.
Like her and Eckhart Tolle, like you're just like, you are on A Course in Miracles text is just on some other shit.
Yes.
Where it's just beyond, so far beyond duality and beyond the games and beyond the illusion and beyond the dance and beyond it all. There they are.
And you know how I know that's true? One of the reasons why I know that's true is because there's a part of me that's like, but how can we do that? We live in a world that's like this. How? How can we do that? How can we sit in inquiry? How can we, minimize the ego? How? Because it just seems so impossible at times, or at least my mind thinks so.
I was even doing, so in the work, it's really structured around 4 questions that Katie talks about. And these 4 questions are, the first question, is it true? So if you have a reoccurring thought or a limiting belief or a story that you tell yourself you think, is this true? The second one is, can you absolutely know that it's true? So can you absolutely know that it's true? And then the third is, how do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? How do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? And then the fourth, who would you be without that thought? So who would you be without the thought? So how would you see or feel about the other person? How would you see or feel about yourself? Drop all the judgments and then notice what is revealed. And then what you basically do is you turn the thought around as well. So you can turn the thought around to find opposites. So you could say, I don't have time for myself, or and then you could be like, I always have time for myself. You're like, what would that feel like? And giving yourself the ability to find opposites from these thoughts that you have. So it's powerful. I was even going through, the 4 questions today on something that I'm working with. And there was a moment where I was like, you can, when the ego's there, because I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Where I was like, oh, I'm really in that story. I'm very much in that story. And that story has defined me for most of my life. So if I was to just simply turn it around or, admit that I do not know it's true, there's no proof that the story that I tell myself is true, or to admit to my reaction when I think that thought, or to understand who I would be without that thought, it feels very empty.
Yes.
It's like, wow, that thought really defines me. And how can we be the observer of that and pick that apart?
Yeah, the clutching and like the clinging to the story is so real. Even if it's a story you're like, I wish I didn't believe that. It's like, but the actual clinging to it almost feels like a lifeblood where you're like, okay, I know this feeling and I can relate to this feeling and I can be in the world with this feeling because that's what I know. But to be in the world without that thought is really scary for a lot of people.
Yes. I think there's embarrassment too.
Say more.
Like if you're like, okay, so I define myself by the belief that um my parents neglected me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a reoccurring theme within my relationships, within my goddess circles, within the podcast, things that I talked
Mm-hmm.
about. If I now am like, I actually don't know if that's true,
Yeah,
then you're like, oh, that's embarrassing.
I know what you mean.
You've created an identity and you've sort of led other people to believe this thought that you perceived to be true. And
Mm.
now you have other people believing this thought that you actually don't know is true. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I'm just thinking about like how that's kind of a part of the process too.
Hmm.
But and if you are going to continue to in this realm like do share with people, it's like this is kind of the next part of the process
Yeah.
of well maybe it's not true. But I also, and that's kind of something I've grappled with her work where it's like, the question is it true? And then the next question is can you absolutely know that it's true? And I think that's the one that's a little zingy because you're just like the usually the absolute knowing is
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
Um
And how do you validate yourself?
but
That's
it's
the
like
thing.
true because you feel,
Yeah.
right? It's like that's kind of what I grapple with where I'm like, but I seemingly experienced it and I seemingly feel the way I feel because I experienced it. So
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just funny because it's like I just started validating how I
I
feel.
know.
And now I'm like, do you feel that way? How do you know? Like, you get back to that where I'm like, God damn it.
Do you even have parents?
Yeah, honestly.
Is that true?
Maybe you neglected them. Yeah, that's why this is what I was talking about on my Instagram Sunday. I was saying that whenever I learn something, it's almost like my soul goes to my Akashic records in my mind. This is
Mm,
my visual. Like I go up to my Akashic records, to my library in the sky, and I see all the books on the shelf and I pick up the next book that I'm supposed to learn, the next
mhm.
lesson that I'm supposed to learn. One of the lessons that I'm learning later in life, but not now, is in A Course in Miracles, it talks about being special and how we are actually not special. And specialness is a way to divide. Specialness is a way to keep us separate. It's a way that the ego plays tricks on us.
Mhm.
And I always say, I'm like, that's a book later in life. I'm not, I like to be special. I like to think I'm special right now. But it's with this, it's like, maybe this is a book that I'm like, maybe next year I'm going to work on this one. Cause this year I need to validate
Mhm.
how I feel, and I need to
Yeah,
understand how I feel.
completely.
And this is very advanced level things.
Very.
Like what we're talking about with her is very, very,
And by advanced, it just means
it's breaking the illusion is can be hard.
completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Cause we're governed by ego and illusion.
mhm.
And sometimes it feels good. Our ego sometimes can be like with the spiritual ego as a way. I'm spiritual. I'm nice. I'm good. I do these things. I'm productive, you know. And it's weird because you're like, oh, I like that. That feels good. The ego's good.
Mhm.
But we
Mhm.
know we're more than even that.
Yes, so much more. More than we can ever possibly wrap our minds around. Yeah, this conversation is really beautiful. And again, I think it's one of those conversations where allow yourself to be really open to receiving exactly what you need. It might be one sentence, it might be one concept, it might be these 4 questions. I think with, advanced conversations like these, sometimes it could be frustrating where it's like, wait, did I miss something? I have to go back. So I would just recommend listening with an open heart, open mind, and just kind of allowing what's meant to drop in for you in this moment be what drops in. Maybe you return to the episode. Maybe you read one of Katie's books. But just wanted to like caveat with that.
Yeah, I love that. I think one of the things that we talked about at the beginning, which is really beautiful that we both do, is the morning walk.
Mhm.
Classic morning walk.
Classic. You guys sick of it yet? You guys sick of us talking about
30
it?
something
'Cause we
going
ain't.
on 80 on the morning walk, which has changed my life.
I feel like people are on the tip. Like even
Yes.
walking in New York, in LA, I'm like, there's a lot of people out here just walking by
Yep.
themselves, doing their thing. Okay, go on.
No, but
Morning
it's
walk.
It's been so powerful. And at first I was doing it because it was a way for me to get steps in and
Yes.
work on my phone so I could have
Productivity.
productivity. Yes, I was multitasking. I was on my phone and I was getting steps in. Yes, nothing better. And then it's sort of evolved into like the present moment, the spirituality. The microdosing has helped
Yes,
that
for
too. So,
sure. I know I look forward to just moseying,
yeah.
like just being and Katie talks about this a little bit, but you could walk in the same place and know a place seemingly, but like to observe and experience things, not labeling them. So it's not like, there's that tree that I always see every day, and allowing these things to share with you what they are, um, was really, really profound. And I don't know if I go to that extent, but it's just kind of exploring places with new eyes every time, rather than just kind of like doing your same old thing, being on the phone or listening to a podcast. It's like, can I scramble this a little bit
Yeah.
and then have a new experience?
Yeah. Cause it's like the ego always finds ways to keep us asleep.
Mhm.
So we are kept asleep when you're walking. Like I've seen that tree before. I've seen that sign.
Mhm.
I know that neighbor. I know that cat. I know that situation. I had to say cat because I'm always got my eyes
You're like, I know those
peeled.
9 cats.
I know every cat in my neighborhood. I literally know them all. This woman actually, I was like talking to one of the cats. I was like, oh, I like talking. And then like a neighbor was like looking at me, just talking to the cat. And I was like, yep, I just talked to the
Hello.
cats. Hello. I was like, I'm going to talk to your cat too. But how can we approach life with fresh eyes? How can we bring more presence by not labeling, by really staying in the moment with things and really allowing beautiful things to unfold or allowing ourselves to experience life in every moment? And what's powerful about the morning walk is that you can start with that.
Yeah.
So if this feels like too much, if it feels like too much to go through all the questions every day or sit in presence, you can start with the walk by being really present, by, not bringing your phone,
Mhm.
by being in the moment, by being in nature as much as possible. And that was something too, I think, with walking, where I was always like, oh, any walking is good for you. And of course, yes, movement is great. We want to get as many steps as we can, but it's not at all the same or recognized as the same by your body if you're walking in a city or if you're
Mhm.
walking with your phone or, you're walking on a stressful conversation. Like it's not being registered as
Mm.
a situation that's actually giving your body reprieve or rest or stress or reducing your stress. I would always like walk in the city on my phone. And I'm like, that's actually not doing the same thing as like a
Mhm.
leisurely walk in nature. Like
Mhm.
you're actually not, because your senses are completely activated the entire time.
Yes. Yeah, totally. If you can't get out in nature, a walk is a great, first step. And I feel like you can kind of bring that curiosity there as well. Um, okay. I'm really excited for y'all. If you have not read Byron Katie's latest incredible book, if you haven't read Loving What Is, highly, highly recommend. And then Katie also has a tri-weekly Zoom gathering where she does the work with people from all over the world. So you can check that out on her website.
Yes, it is thework.com. And then you can find her on Instagram at byron.katie. We love you guys. Thank you for being a part of our lovely, amazing community. I'm really excited. We have membership enrollment opening up very soon. I am really excited to welcome our new members. We've had the
Mhm.
best time these past couple months. Our workshops have been absolutely incredible. We've done crystals and astrology. We've done purpose. We've done intuition and healing and sound baths. And it's just felt like one of the best things
Mhm.
that we do.
Yeah, it's truly a create your own adventure. And I think the community piece this round has been like more potent than ever. I've heard people getting together with people in person and just connecting on a regular basis, which is just so beautiful and so needed. Thank you all for listening, subscribing, rating, and reviewing. The show means so much to us and really helps us to get on guests like Katie today. So thank you in advance. Enjoy this one, and we will see you on the other side.
We love you. Bye.
I just got our favorite delivery of the month, Sean and I wait patiently by the door like little puppy dogs. Our Athletic Greens shipment came in, and man, oh man, I don't know. I thought the other day, I was like, I don't know what my life would be like without Athletic Greens. I don't know how I would feel. I don't want to know, because Athletic Greens has truly just improved so many aspects of my health and routine. So it's improved my digestion. It has improved my energy. It has improved the way in which I feel in the morning. This is the first thing I put in my stomach, okay? I make sure to take Athletic Greens to fill any nutritional gaps, to make me feel just my most vibrant self. And the reason why I feel that way is because the ingredients in Athletic Greens are of the most intensely high quality I have ever encountered. Okay. This is the category leading superfood product that brings comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition to everybody. They keep up with the research. They know where to find the highest quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients, and they're obsessed with making sure they're the best of the best. So, in one scoop of AG1, it contains 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients, including a multivitamin, multi-mineral, probiotic, green superfood blend, and more in one convenient daily serving. The special blend of high-quality bioavailable ingredients in a scoop of AG1 work together to fill the nutritional gaps in your diet, support energy and focus, aid with gut health and digestion, and support a healthy immune system. And it effectively replaces multiple products or pills. So if you're someone that's like, I don't want to take all these supplements, I just want something that's convenient and easy, highly recommend AG1. Athletes love it. Moms, dads, first timers, everyone in between really loves incorporating this into their routine. They come in travel packs or they come in a convenient scoop bag. It's so awesome. And it also comes with this little canister that I love keeping in my cabinet. Just makes it easy and chic. And I'm excited for you because when you get your first Athletic Greens, they're going to give you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. Those are the ones I take with me everywhere. So athleticgreens.com/almost30 is where you're going to go. And with your first purchase, you're going to get 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. athleticgreens.com/almost30. One more time, athleticgreens.com/almost30 to take control of your health and give AG1 a try. Okay, I shout it from the rooftops all the time, but Daily Harvest is my go-to for everyday meals. It has made my life so much easier. I am even more healthy, and it has really reinvigorated my love for making food. But if you are out there and you're like, listen, I don't want to cook. I want to stay healthy. When I buy a bunch of fruits and vegetables, they go bad. I'm just frustrated. Let me recommend Daily Harvest. So they deliver delicious chef-crafted foods, meals right to your door that are built on organic fruits and vegetables. They have harvest bowls, soups, smoothies, lattes, flatbreads, ice creams, and so much more. They do it right. They're delicious. I literally have not found a Daily Harvest meal that I do not like. They have breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, desserts. Everything is always on hand in your freezer. So this is so key. I was having so much frustration around food going bad when I would buy it, but with Daily Harvest, it's in the freezer and it's ready to enjoy when I need it. I never have to question whether I'm eating something that's good for me. Everything is frozen at peak freshness. Everything is clean, delicious, and I just love it as the base of my meal. So for example, I love the cauliflower pesto harvest bowl. I'll cook that in just a little skillet with a tiny bit of olive oil. It takes 5 minutes. And then if I want to add a protein, I'll make a little salmon or chicken, and it is a full-blown meal. And they have a new creation that I'm excited about. I just tried it the other day, and they're called crumbles, okay? This is the new plant-based crumbles from Daily Harvest. They're savory, delicious, and they're a great source of protein made from ingredients grown in the ground, not in the lab, okay? And they're 100% built on plants and nothing else. So I saute the crumbles, and I'll put it on a pasta or a salad or a taco. They're so savory, so packed with flavor. I love it so freaking much. And let me just give you an insider tip. If you want to do a Daily Harvest flatbread, which I highly recommend, you can then put the crumbles on top of the flatbread. It's unbelievable. And I want you to get creative too. So go to dailyharvest.com/almost30 to get up to $40 off your first box. That's dailyharvest.com/almost30 for up to $40 off your first box. dailyharvest.com/almost30. Do not sleep on this deal. $40 off your first box. Krista and I are notorious morning walkers.
Mm-hmm.
It is a practice that we
love it.
There's nothing better. Honestly, there's nothing better. It changed my life. It just changed. It's so funny in my journey, I guess I'll just say that it started out with, it had to be things externally. It had to be hard things. It had to be things I purchased. It had to be classes I went to or information I read about or courses I took or accolades I achieved. And I never would have thought that a walk could be a teacher or a walk could be something that was so transformational. So I'd love to hear about your morning walks and sort of what birthed that.
Yeah, my morning walks were, I heard a voice in my head. The work found me. It's just by some grace. I saw that when I believed my thoughts, I suffered. When I questioned them, everything shifted. I found the end of suffering. So, the morning walk, I just heard inside of me, walk or die. It was loud and it was clear, walk or die, because I had a phobia of people. I was agoraphobic. And so, I did. I was able to walk from, downstairs, put my hand on the front doorknob and walk out alone and continue walking down the sidewalk. And I haven't really stopped since. And that was more than 30 years ago. So this walk or die. And what happened was something inside of me, it's like all the fear was inside of me. Mm-hmm. And as I walked, I could see the difference between reality. Like people weren't hurting me. They weren't accusing me. The trees didn't say, go away, don't look at us. The sidewalk held me. It didn't fall beneath me and I fall into the abyss. It was my teacher. So the morning walk, as I walk to this day, I don't name things. Like today, I see a tree. My mind is opened it's open to don't know. And to call it a tree, to my experience, would limit it. Mm. Because it is there in this world, the gift of this world, it's like I allow. I invite or I'm open to it telling me what it is. The same with the pavement or a rock by the side of the road or the sky, the sun, the moon on my night walks, but these morning walks. And it's like going out in the world, Krista, as you were describing, it's like going out in the world and meeting the world as it is, as opposed to what I believe it to be. And allow it to show me rather than me to let's say arrogantly name it. You're a tree, a tree and a sky and a flower, as opposed to just, it allows me to even see what we would see as myself. Mm. It's I never know what's going to come out of its mouth or its apparent mind, what thoughts appear. We don't think, we're being thought, but we say, I'm thinking, or I just thought, no, it's a gift, just like the tree. It comes, and the clearer, and let's say the more open we are, the the more beneficial my life. The more don't know in my life. Don't know doesn't mean being stupid or unwise. It is the opposite of being unwise. To me, it is allowing the wisdom, the immovable wisdom, to be like a partner in my life and my greatest love.
Yeah, that's so profound, and I feel I'm wanting to understand more about the human condition and our wanting to define everything and know things. What have you found about that through your experience that is so seemingly important, where we need to know and we need to understand and we need to define and label?
It's the ego's fight for identity. It's terror of being nothing, which of course it is nothing. Mind is not something. It is not an object you can hold. It's imagination. I see me at breakfast this morning with Stephen, but that's an image in my head. It's ego. It's not right. It's not wrong. And I can say, oh, yes, we had breakfast this morning together. But where's my proof? It's an illusion. It's an image in my head that ego would believe thoughts onto, and then that makes manifest identity. That equation. And like if the thoughts came and I didn't know what they were, like the tree I earlier described, and I didn't know, what that was, then they are nothing. But if you ask me, did you have breakfast with Stephen this morning? When you ask me, I see an image, but that I have no proof. That's breakfast. That's a movie in my head. And an earth school, I call it. That's all we've got. Who am I? Oh, I'm the one that had breakfast this morning. How do I know? There's a fiction running in my head. And in fiction, meaning the not now. An image that would lead me to believe there's a past. But being awake to reality means understanding the difference between the illusion, meaning the movie of the past, and I'm going to have dinner with Stephen tonight. I can see us having dinner, but that doesn't make it true. That's an illusion. So that's what that's basically just to be awake to that. And that can be terrifying for, we're left with, who am I? Well, I am the one that had breakfast and I'm the one having dinner. Where's my proof? I can't take it out and show it to you. I can take a picture with my phone camera and send it to you, but that's not me either. That's an image. So look at that picture. That's me. No, it's not. So the identity, ego, I see it as a terrified child looking for a life. And wanting to be, but that can never be because mind is not physical. It is not body.
I was thinking about your description of a walk and the description of the presence and the description of the non-labeling and the oneness and really being there for all of it. And I feel like people have achieved that sort of experience with psychedelics. And I don't know if you've ever thought about that or if that's ever been brought up to you. But
I have.
Yeah. What do you think that parallel is?
I think that their minds are just open. It's opened up, and they're not as identified as I. The ego doesn't have control over that kind of freedom, and so I think it's people share their experiences with me, and and I love what I'm hearing. And this inquiry that was shown to me in that moment of grace, that state of grace that I bring to the world, these 4 questions, that experience. It's like when I look at the psychedelics, the mind is just so opened with people who share it. So that matches inquiry, but there's no holding it. You have to do the drug again, even though it shifts your life. You do it again to open it again. And there can be disappointment or not quite matching the experience, before. Whereas with self-inquiry, we have a way of experiencing what psychedelics give us, but we have a way of living that in the world that shows up in the work and those living turnarounds, and on a way of having it anytime, anywhere, that we have the patience just to get still and sit in inquiry. It's unlimited. And the experiences people share with me on this with psychedelics are the same experiences people share with me as they're sitting in self-inquiry. And not as radical as the psychedelics appear, but over time, yes, as radical. Meaning I had experiences that I hear with people who have come back with just amazing stories from psychedelics and shared them with me. The experience I've had in self-inquiry are at least as mind-blowing. It means ego-less and other things having space to affect us as far as who and what we are.
And it's legal. The inquiry is legal in all states.
Yeah, and handy dandy.
And free. Dandy.
Yeah.
Free. There you go.
And free.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. We shouldn't have to, freedom is within us. And inquiry, self-inquiry is a way of tapping into that freedom. And it's life-changing, life-altering. And it's and then ongoing. When we sit in the daily practice of self-inquiry, that inquiry is ongoing. It's not a formal thing where we have to sit, even though I still sit. It's in the way I'm pointing to, like just getting quiet. I did like day before yesterday, and I think for probably anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, and nothing happened but just tears, just sweet, sweet, sweet tears. My children's father is in the hospital, and it, oh my goodness, just what a privilege to just get still and allow what's there to be.
Beautiful.
For those that don't know your awakening story, that moment of grace where you received these questions of inquiry, I would love for you to share. I just think it's so powerful, and I know many people out there listening find themselves in a state that they feel like they will never get out of.
Yeah. So I was sleeping on the floor, all night and into the morning, just as we always do. And as love would have it, a cockroach crawled over my ankle, over my foot, and I opened my eyes. And before the ego could fill in that space, could grab that space, I saw how my world was created. I was looking at a window that wasn't, in a room that wasn't, and in the absence of ego, there was no self-reference. And then the mind, the ego, the apparent ego kicked in, and there was a window, and then there was light coming through the window. And when I began to laugh, that was the first sound out of, because it's like I got the joke. I got it. And then there was in that there was just a ceiling and walls and a floor and an eye. And the eye didn't happen till after. I could only repeat that after the fact, and it can never be true. I'm always pointing to the illusion and the way out of it. And all of that was the experience on the floor. And it's, something that profound is, that's immovable. That cannot be denied. It's, we go to sleep at night, and let's say we're not dreaming. We wake up the next morning, and the ego owns it. I'm awake. I'm late for work. I want coffee. I need to brush my teeth. So that identification that does not sleep. And we wake up with it, or we don't wake up. It's just that by some grace, I beat the ego to it.
And where did you find yourself at that point, that night into morning? What were the thoughts that you were believing? At what point in your life was this?
It was, oh gosh, that was in 1986, a long, like 30 something years ago. And I was in a halfway house for women with eating disorders. And it is the only place my insurance company would, that's the only place they said, yes, I could go to. I was following 10 years. This was following 10 years of agoraphobia, of just sheer terror, eating disorder. I was over 200 pounds, but I'm describing a thinking disorder with all of this, the agoraphobia, a thinking disorder, the compulsive overeating, a thinking disorder. Life is a thinking disorder if we are not happy in it. And it's still an illusion. And I recommend it. A place where we can laugh and share experiences. And for me, to honor the gift that was given in that state of grace, that immovable, all these years later.
It's really interesting, I'm assuming then you heard the voice that brought you to the walking, the walk or die.
Walk or die.
And it's interesting at that state where you had the agoraphobia and the eating disorders at the halfway house that you didn't think that the death would be reprieve for the pain and that it caused you to move. Do you think that, or what do you think that is about? Do you feel like it was like a higher self conversation, or did you ever think about suicide? Like, did your thoughts ever consume you so much so that you wanted to exit the earth?
Yes, for those prior 10 years, yes. Yeah, that was just painfully suicidal.
Yeah.
I thought that was the way out.
Yeah.
I had no idea there was another way out, but the way out is to look inward. And that is the way out of suffering. If we can, and it's so let's say handy dandy. There are thoughts, we can identify them and question them. We can identify them and bring them into the world on paper, and they're stable so that we can question them. And within the situation where we were experiencing the pain, actually.
I'm curious in your work and hearing from so many people all over the world, especially, say we take the example of the thought disorder around eating or body dysmorphia. And Kristen and I were having a conversation before this just around taking radical responsibility and how that can be really off-putting for people.
Yeah.
And they become resistant and perhaps defensive.
Oh,
How have you found a way in, to really bring
it's
light?
comparison. The ego, that's the ego's favorite thing. It's like if you have a very low opinion of your body, like, I'm ugly, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm not as, it's always about comparison. And if you get really still and you just consider, if I didn't compare this body with any other body, is it possible to think less of your body? And I think that's one of the first steps, without, because comparison is the ego, that's its trick. Two, in other words, the opposite of duality is where we get clear. So also when people, if they write down what they're thinking and believing about their body, and they look at it and question it, then it can really wake us up to, that is not I. And like body and what I'm thinking about the body. Now, one of those is off, and it's got to be the mind, because it is the mind that says there's something unattractive about my body, or terrible or ugly, or whatever it is. So if you write down your thoughts about your body and you question them, and questioning is that's a big ask, because we're going beyond the ego to see what is there that the ego wants to hide. But for example, would you rather have, when you think of your body, would you rather have a beautiful, healthy, flexible body, and you had to make a choice between that you want so badly, let's say, and you had to make a choice between that and I want my thoughts about my body, I want my thinking to be beautiful, healthy, and flexible. Which one would you choose if you had to make the choice? And that's what we're talking about. I want my body to be beautiful, or I want my thoughts about my body to be beautiful. I want my thinking to be beautiful. I want my body to be flexible and healthy. If I had to make the choice, turned around, I want my thoughts about my body to be healthy and flexible, and about life. So that's just a small example of, and if we love what we think, we love ourselves. But going back to comparison, if let's say I had the world agree I had a very grotesque body, everyone agrees to it. But if I did not compare my body with anyone else, I'm good. I'm good with it. Other people have the problem. I don't. And in that kind of freedom, it's where we begin to become conscious of like beautiful, healthy, flexible, in that kind of freedom. I did the work and smoking quit me. I did the work and insane food. There's sane food and insane food. For example, sugar or an apple. I was going for the sugar, for example, and the alcohol and the sick. It's like sugar quit me. Compulsive overeating quit me. I had found what I was looking for. And to this day, if something happened and something is happening with my head, it doesn't stop inquiry. We can always, if as long as we have a choice, we have inquiry. And if my mind says, "Oh, I feel terrible today," that's duality. I have to compare it with something else to even know that's not okay. That's duality.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed about your work is it really is that like ascended from duality, unity consciousness. Has anyone talked about A Course in Miracles with you too? Because it sort of
Yes.
reminds me of that as well.
Yes. But people bring it up. It's not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like almost that is beyond form, beyond the illusion and even beyond specialness, beyond the ego sees everything as new. But I would like to just on the body kind of take everyone through the 4 questions if we were as an example around the body. So say someone has the belief, my body is something to fix. How would we leverage the 4 questions to walk them through a different
Okay, so let's say
ending?
to be happy, I need to fix my body. Okay, so is it true? Is it true that to be happy, I need to fix my body? Can I absolutely know that it's true? To be happy, I have to fix my body. Now, I ponder that even as we're using it as an example. I have my life is inquiry. It's like inquiry meets ego as a way of life. So for my body to be beautiful, how do I react when I believe the thought to be happy? My body needs to be beautiful. I compare my body with other people's. I always come up short. I'm either better than or less than. How do I react when I think the thought, I need my body to be beautiful for me to be healthy? Guilty anytime I eat this food or that food or break a fast I'm on, and then you just ponder all of that. How do you react? Sitting in inquiry and always comparing this body with another body in my mind's eye, or looking at someone else. If I'm in a crowd, I see this beautiful body. I imagine them to be happy and have everything. And then there's my life. My body's not beautiful. I don't have the same respect from people that that person has. And getting this, I could go on and on with it, but that's what it is, getting still and noticing how the ego goes on and on and on, and how you react when you believe the thought, what kind of life you're living when you think the thought. And that was my agoraphobia, which they say fear of the marketplace. And mine was just a marketplace of just 1 inch outside my door was terrifying. And then that 4th question, just sitting in that silence, who would I be? Who would I be without the thought to be happy? I need my body to be beautiful. Imagining myself in the world in those situations where I was so horrified when I was comparing. And I look at those situations in my mind's eye and imagine myself in that situation. Who would I be without the thought to be happy? I need my body to be beautiful. There's no way not to be happy if we really sit in those situations. Because it's all encompassed there. It's our health, our physical, everything, without comparison. And then, those are the 4 questions, and then turn the thought around. To be happy, I need my body to be beautiful. To be happy, I don't need my body to be beautiful. And then to ponder that. anchored in those situations, for example, they're in that place with that perfect body that was there, and me in this terrible body. To be happy, I don't need my body to be beautiful. And then I look around at the opportunities there to just be and to witness other people having fun without comparing my standing there alone, and the happiness that comes from just what you would think is impossible or just trivia. And then see the one over there in the corner all alone. To be happy, I need my body to be beautiful. And then as that, yeah, I don't know if she's happy or not. I don't know if she's miserable or not. But she certainly is, she certainly seems to be together enough to be alone and to smile, witnessing as that. I am so fascinated, meaning as mind, I am so fascinated by the world. On the other side of inquiry, it's curiosity, it's alive, because it's not I am curious with no other motive is a life of inquiry.
And it feels, the inquiry is very much space, pause, kind of this lifting of time and
time and place.
It feels, kind of like that feeling of taking off the tight shoe, like Ram Dass says, though it's not death, but it feels like finally living in a way.
Yeah.
And the last question, who would you be without that thought, I just think is so powerful and almost like lifts this veil. It's like, I'm right there, not I, but the experience of that happiness is right there. It doesn't seem so far away when you bring in that question. I think it's just so powerful.
If you think of I as non-duality, I am delighted, I am free, it all starts to match up, and where you were going, and it felt like ego. And one more step, I can see in your face, it was, yes, that's, it's where it flips.
Yes.
Ultimate I. And that really is, you can't even put a word on it because it's too heavy. I is the original I is only that I, and then I am, and it's added weight. Two is added weight, but it isn't a what yet. I am. Okay, now it's really not duality, because there's no friction there. So I am, let's say, waking up from sleep. I am awake. Now it's getting heavy. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am a sister. I am a friend. I need coffee. So it just, once that ego starts its attempted identification as I am this woman, for example, it cannot stop. it's like there's something wrong with him. Why did she say that? There's something, the coffee is cold. I think. So that identification and the ego cannot sleep because like that experience on the floor I described earlier, it wasn't quick enough to grab the space. And that's how I can talk to you today.
Thank you,
and
cockroach.
keeping it alive by how that work was born on the floor. Prior to mind, nothing. It was, if I had to describe it, it would be just like this, like an invisible engine, just like an invisible heartbeat, just, and there was no time or space in it. And then that wild, innocent child we call ego, just window, ceiling, eye, and just having the time of its life and nothing valid, pure imagination, Earth School. Earth School. And evidently I had been in Earth School long enough to get a little glimpse.
So I have to admit that I wasn't taking my Seed DS-01 daily symbiotic for a few months at the end of 2021. And I noticed such a difference in my digestion, in just my overall energy. I noticed a slight difference in my mood. As we know, the gut is the second brain. So there's absolutely a correlation there. And when I got back on, I swear to you that I saw improvements within 24 hours. Most people see improvements within 24 to 48 hours, improvements like bowel movement, regularity, and eased bloating. I love Seed. I love that they are just so obsessed with the science. You can check out their studies and scientifically backed evidence of why their daily symbiotic is the best out there on their website, seed.com/almost30. Check it out. But this is a really special formulation. It's a proprietary formulation of 24 distinct probiotic strains in scientifically studied dosages. And it's engineered, it's a 2-in-1 capsule, and the capsule protects probiotics through digestion to ensure delivery to the colon, which is really important. A lot do not make it through the GI tract. That's why they don't work. So Seed is designed differently, and that is why it works. I'm so excited for you all to try this. So if you're looking to ease your bloating, get healthy regularity and ease of evacuation, if you want to support your gut barrier, skin health, heart health, and micronutrient synthesis, I highly recommend trying Seed. I'm sure you've seen a lot of people out there share about Seed, and it's for good reason. So start a new healthy habit today. Visit seed.com/almost30 and use the code almost30 to redeem 20% off your first month of Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic. That's SEED.com/almost30 and use code almost30 to get 20% off your first month of Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic. Okay, this is my number one recommendation when it comes to apps on my phone. This is a new app that helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forgot about, which is so me. It's called Truebill. Truebill, Truebill. I don't know if you knew this, but on average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill. Have you heard? Have you heard through the grapevine? It's unbelievable. So what I do think you know is that subscriptions, any type of subscription, they make it hard to cancel. It's just kind of the way it goes. Truebill makes it incredibly simple to cancel. Just link your accounts and Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. And your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions and have any trouble with it. They got you. They have over 2 million users and help them save over $100 million. When I first got Truebill, get this, okay? I realized that I was spending $147 every single month in unused recurring subscriptions. I was like floored, embarrassed. Holy moly. Took my breath away, but Truebill took care of it. I'm totally obsessed. Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at truebill.com/almost30. Do it right now. Truebill.com/almost30. Go right now. It is free to start, okay? Truebill.com/almost30. You'll save hundreds a year. That's TRUEBILL.com/almost30.
Yeah, I feel like when we think about the stories and when we think about the ways in which the ego tricks us, I think one of the first steps is thinking about all the ways the ego harms us. So we say, I am not enough. My body needs to be fixed. We kind of go to all the negatively perceived things.
Yes.
And then further along the journey, you go to the positively perceived things until you become the I. Can you talk a little bit about that, as far as the relationship with the ego? Because the ego not only is the negative stories we tell ourselves, but it's also, the ones we perceive as positive.
Well, the ego, let's say, that woman I saw last night is so beautiful, and I am just not that. And so I see her in my mind's eye, and you probably had an image of me there. We don't even know what the there was, but it didn't stop us. You saw me somewhere with that other woman, and there are two of you there. So we have two different environments altogether. And in me, that makes three. I'm the storyteller. And so what is ego? I was there. Why do I believe it? I see an image of the past in my head. Now, I can't take that out and show it to you. And even if I drew you a picture that was very clear, that picture is not the image in my head. That's two. So where you are imagining what I am saying. So we have three different scenarios going on. And so the past, the ego offers up that image, so you can see me there. And then, I was so depressed, I came home. Now you can see me at home. And so pure imagination. And then tomorrow I'm going to do it differently. I'm never going out again. So now we have the future. And I have not moved this we call body. I have done this huge trip, but I'm believing that image in my head is I. That is fiction right here, right now. And it's all the proof. And if you don't agree with me that last night was terrible, then there's something wrong with you now. And you're just not my friend. And you just don't understand me. Now I'm misunderstood. And this is, who would I be without my story? The relief. And which is the fourth question, who am I? What am I? Who would I be without those false images? And the false images, I'm not going to stop them. It's just an illusion, just creates our whole world here in Earth School. But this illusion I call I last night at that party is not I. It would just, to look at it when once awake is like, what? I thought that was me. I was depressed over what? An image? It wasn't even in my head. I can't take it out. I can't take out of my head what isn't there. It's thoughts, and thoughts aren't form. So, the way, I think I said it earlier, but I think it's important. It's like we think like window, but it's not until we see an image of it in our mind's eye. As we sit here, we see an image of a window. And it's not until the ego gives it a word. And then that word and that image make what we perceive as life. And that's how the ego works. That is not life, that's imagination. So inquiry wakes us up from the dream, leaving our true nature, and still the ability to see the images, talk to people, not fear the images or believe them either negative or positive, because it's a dream. That's not life. That's imagination, and to know the difference. And that's presence, and that's immovable, and that is to wake up to it. But for me, to not point to the images is not to be here in this earth school. And obviously, I still need it. Here I am, I think, which doesn't make it so.
Probably the last round. Probably the last round for you.
This is a privilege.
Yeah.
It's a privilege where imagination appears to be something you can touch and smell and be.
Yeah. I was even, thinking about, the imagination, and even when you had that moment where you had tears, those sweet tears on your face. And when I think about dreams, I think about sometimes the somatic feeling that I have when I wake up or after a feeling like that. How can we connect, or what do you think the relationship is between like the feelings that we have somatically in our bodies, and then when we're having that experience of the mind, and when we're looking to let go of the ego, how can we assure the body that the body is okay? Because sometimes the body is chemically looking for those feelings or emotions that the ego often feeds us.
Think, feel, act, have. That's the order of creation. And I see me, what I see as me, which I can never be, meaning that imagined me in my head, that just said the imagined me in my head. Where did she go? You cannot prove I ever said it. Even the two of you can agree I said it, but that doesn't make it so. So now we have group hypnosis going on, it seems. But to be awake to the difference between reality and imagination. For example, imagine biting into a big, ripe, juicy lemon. Okay, so that's physical, you felt. Physical, and the saliva and everything, that is the power you're up against. Imagination. You did not eat a lemon. So, I think that answers the question. Think, meaning image and believing onto it. Think, feel, you felt it. It even created saliva, and you saw and probably an orange, ripe lemon, and you probably saw it open with the pulp and everything. So think, feel, you felt it. Act, there was the emotion, there was the physical experience and emotion that goes with it. Think, feel, act, have. So what you have is that experience. Now, what's happening is you're remembering, like the lemon you saw in your mind's eye, you wouldn't even know, like the morning walk, you wouldn't even know that's a lemon without remembering the lemon prior to that lemon. And then there is a memory of all these lemons in your life. And that's imagination. It all happened so quickly that you felt the emotion in your body. Now, inquiry, obviously, it can be done. It can break the spell. We can actually see the lemon and experience nothing. We can see ourselves as in our mind's eye at a party, and everyone is beautiful, but me standing there, and I'm good with it. So the body is, and why am I good with it? I've done some self-inquiry on that, on those, what I call the Judge Your Neighbor worksheets. And there's a 99-cent app where these that worksheet is, and how to break the spell of I. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so honey, it's so simple. Mm-hmm. And it takes stillness and an open mind, mm-hmm. as you know, in your work. But there's no way out but in. Mm-hmm. And I was gifted this moment of grace that I nurtured. I'm still doing my morning walk. I'm still filling in a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. I am really, the way is more honest. I work with people. I would say, if like most days, but I'm not working with people. I'm always working with myself. Those are my worksheets. And I could have the thought, oh, I know this already, but it would end in a question mark. So I'm always present. Your work is my work. And that's what's meant by your pain is my pain. Your joy is my joy. You are who I believe you to be. So eventually there's only innocence and connection, compassion. Compassion for me is understanding, understanding the cause of anyone's suffering. Mm. It's, if I believe what they believe, I would suffer as well. We can all say that.
It's pretty remarkable, to think about that moment of grace and just, seeing. I am thinking about how many people perhaps have experienced a moment like that, but they didn't follow it, I guess, for lack of a better term.
I would say, guessing that we all have. Mm. We all have had that moment of grace. And if we haven't, we will. But how do you hold it? Mm-hmm. I just happen to understand what I shared with you at the time.
Mm-hmm. For people that are listening and they are thinking about the world in which we live in right now, and believe to be true, I guess, how would you support them or guide them in that feeling of overwhelm of, okay, well, I understand and I love this idea of inquiry and asking these questions, but if no one else around me is doing this, how is it possible to feel, fully happy or fully fill in the blank, or to just be? Because it's an interesting time.
To take that miserable self to inquiry. Don't wait to feel better to do it. Just how to do the work is always free on thework.com, or Loving What Is, that new edition that came out. We can do it when we feel good. We can look back at when we felt bad and identify what we were thinking and believing and write those thoughts down. The cause of all of our suffering is what we're thinking and believing. So it's worth going back to that situation and identify what we were thinking and believing and question it and break the spell. But not forever and ever and ever. This is a practice in stillness. And it will shift your life. Like you might do the work on your mother, and and still see your mother the same way, but all of a sudden you see that chocolate cake and you're not attracted. It's like, what is this? We don't know where the work is going to work. All I know is our lives get better. So we can do the work on mother, father, sister, brother. And that's how I can say smoking quit me, compulsive overeating quit me. I was doing work on people, and my choices shifted. It's not something I was doing. It's something I supported happily.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to right now? Like, what is bringing you joy?
What brings me the joy is not looking forward to anything, just letting it show up. Because knowing the nature of everyone and everything, I don't have to look forward to it. It's a given.
Mm.
And oh honey, it is just so amazing to don't know. Like on the other side of this, I don't know what's on the other side of that door behind me. It's a surprise.
Mm.
And knowing the nature of everything is it's the opposite of depression.
Mm.
Yeah. It's the opposite of deep depression. It's an inquiry can take us higher.
Mm.
And I'm not talking about crazy. I'm talking about allowing wisdom to live. And in the absence of suffering, that is what lives.
Yeah, the deep inquiry, I think sometimes the thought of it, again, can scare people, and so for you to say that, I just felt the resonance of that, where it can lift you higher and it can allow wisdom to live. It is liberating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I am all about not high and lofty and all of this, just the absence of suffering. That's it. Mm. Anything better than that, I'm in. But the absence of suffering, that's it.
Mm. Katie, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
It has been just so powerful. I feel like I don't have to say where can people connect with you, but I do know that you have a weekly meeting or gathering.
Yeah, it's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 9 to 10 a.m. And oh my holy moly, the people that show up for that with worksheets, it is truly my heart's desire. There was a man today who lives in Romania that's doing the work on the war with Putin and in this major his terror of Putin, and then his major argument with his father, who wants to put a little cash aside and wants his son to call. Oh, it is just. Oh, anyway, we're going to I think put that up on the website sometime today too. But anyway, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time, and we usually go over. And but I invite everyone. It's a way of all of us sitting in these 4 questions and turnarounds and doing our work together. And it's oh my goodness, I just love that so much.
Thank you so much.
Everyone,
Thank
welcome.
You so much for your work.
also a podcast. We put these up on a podcast that's running 24/7. So, yeah. And honey, I interrupted you.
Oh,
No
I was just going to
worries.
say we're so grateful for you and your work and everything that you share, whether it's on your website or your podcast or your community calls or books. We're really grateful you could be on our show. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love that you invited me, and thank you so much for that. It's certainly, sitting with you two is so sweet.
Oh, we feel the same. We feel the same. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe we'll run into an Ojai sometime.
Yes.
Good.
Who knows?
We'll see you at Farmers Market.
Yes. Done. Katie, thank you. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. And
See
you
you
too as
soon.
well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.